जय राम श्री राम, जय राम श्री राम, जय राम श्री राम, जय राम श्री राम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम, सीताराम बोलो सीताराम, सीताराम बोलो सीताराम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम, पतित पावन सीताराम। सीताराम सीताराम, सीताराम बोलो सीताराम, सीताराम बोलो सीताराम। सीताराम सीताराम, सीताराम बोलो सीताराम, सीताराम बोलो सीताराम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम, पतित पावन सीताराम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम, पति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम। सीताराम सीताराम, सीताराम बोलो सीताराम, सीताराम सीताराम, सीताराम बोलो सीताराम। सीताराम सीताराम, सीताराम बोलो सीताराम, सीताराम सीताराम, सीताराम बोलो सीताराम। Anybody wants to sing this song? Who has? Mataji, you want to sing? Okay. I may not do good justice, but I'm just asking one more time. Anyone? No? Okay, let me try it out. Is it okay? Sure. श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु भज मन, हरौ भव भय दारुणम्। रामचंद्र कृपालु भज मन, भय दारुणम्। श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु भज मन, हरन भव भय दारुणम्। कृपालु भज मन, भज भय दारुणम्। नव कंज लोच कंज मुख, कर कंज पद कंजरुणम्। श्री राम श्री राम, नव कंज लोच कंज मुख, कर कंज पद कंजारुणम्। श्री राम श्री राम, you can say Sri Ram Sri Ram। श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु भज मन, हरन भज भय दारुणम्। श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु मन, हरन भव भय दारुणम्। कंदर्प गणित अमित छवि, नव नील नीरज सुंदरम्। कंदर्प गणित अमित छवि, नव नील नीरज सुंदरम्। पटपीत मानवताडित रुचि सूचि नवमि जनक सूतवरम पटपीत मानवताडित रुचि सूचि नवम जनक सूतवरम श्री राम 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 श्री मुकुट कुंडल तिलक चरूदर अंग विभूषणम श्री मुकुट कुंडल तिलक चरु उदर अंग विभूषणम अजान भुज सरछ पधर संग्रम जित कदूषणम अजान भुज सरछ पधर संग्रम जित कर दूषणम श्री राम 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 भज द्वैन बंधु दिन सदानव दैत्य वंश निकंदनम जदीन बंधु दिनेश दानव दैत्य वंश निकंदनम रघुनंद आनंद कांड कौशल चंद्र दशरथ नंदनम रघुनंद आनंद कांड कौशल नंदनम श्री राम 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 इति बडत तुलसीदास शंकर शेष मुनिमान रंजनम इति बडत मुनिमान रंजनम मम हृदय कुंज निवास कुरुका मम हृदय कुंज निवास कुरुक मधिकल दल गंजनम हृदय कुंज निवास श्री राम 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 श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु भज मन हरन भव भय दारुणम रामचंद्र कृपालु भज मन हरन श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु भज मन हरन भव भय दारुणम श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु भय दारुण श्री राम 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 जय राम श्री राम श्री राम श्री राम जय राम श्री राम जय राम श्री राम सीताराम 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 श्री राम जय राम श्री राम श्री राम दशरथ नंदन श्री राम जय 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 राम श्री राम कौसल्या नंदन श्री राम जय राम श्री राम जय राम Sri Ram Dasarath Nandan, Sri Ram Jai Ram Sri Ram Dasarath Nandan, Sri Ram Jai Ram Sri Ram, Sri Ram Kausalya Nandan, Sri Ram Jai Ram Sri Ram, Sri Ram Kausalya Nandan, Sri Ram Sitaram 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 Sitaram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Patita Pavan Sita Ram. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Patita Pavan Sita Ram. ईश्वर अल्लाह तेरो नाम, सबको सन्मति दे भगवान। ईश्वर अल्लाह तेरो नाम, सबको सन्मति दे भगवान। रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम। सीताराम बोलो सीताराम, सीताराम बोलो 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 सीताराम। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम राम राम। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nithai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nithai Gora Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Shri Shri Ramachandra Bhagavan ki. So you want to sing? You want to sing something? Come. DTs will come in 5 minutes maybe. So after that maybe you can come over. Come over here. Then after. So your class is at 6:30. So after you can continue one sitting. Once we go outside. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram, Sitaram Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Raghupati Raghava Rajaram, Patita Pavana 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 Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram Jaya Sitaram.
Sitaram Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jaya Jaya, Jaya Ram Shri Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Jaya Ram Shri Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. Jaya Jaya Ram, Jaya Ram Shri Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Jaya Ram Shri Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram, Bhatita Pavana Sita Ram.
No, no. Just one link.
Patita Pavana Sita Ram, Raghava Raja. Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram, Patita Pavana Sita Ram, Raghava Raja Ram, Patita Pavana Sita Ram. Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram, Patita Pavana Sita Ram. Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jai Jaya Ram, Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jai Jaya Ram. Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jai Jaya Ram, Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jai Jaya Ram. Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jai Jaya Ram, Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jai Jaya Ram. Jai Jai Ram, Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jai Jaya Ram. Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jai Jaya Ram, Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jai Jaya Ram. The deities have arrived, so we will go outside.
Hare Krishna devotees who have joined us online, just wanted to let you know that the deities of Lord Shri Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman and Sita are arriving and the procession is out. The devotees are out to get the deities in. So just give us a few minutes before the deities enter the temple. Thank you so much. Happy Ram Navami.
Jaya Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jaya Lakshman Hanuman, Ram Jaya Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jaya Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram, Jaya Lakshman Hanuman, Sita Ram, Jaya Lakshman Hanuman, Ram Jaya Lakshman Hanuman. Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Bolo.
Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Jaya Sita Ram, Jaya Lakshman Hanuman, Sita Ram, Jaya Lakshman Hanuman. Sita Ram, Jaya Lakshman Hanuman, Sita Ram, Jaya Lakshman Hanuman. Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram, Patita Pavana Sita Ram. 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 Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram. Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram. Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Lakshman Hanuman. Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram. Jaya Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram. Jai Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram. Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Sita Ram, Lakshman Hanuman, Sita Ram, Lakshman Hanuman. Sita Ram, Lakshman Hanuman, Sita Ram, Lakshman Hanuman. Sita Ram, Lakshman Hanuman, Sita Ram, Lakshman Hanuman. Okay, Hare Krishna. Jai Sri Ramachandra Janma Mahotsava ki Jai. We have about 1 hour. We're going to read the entire Ramayana. No, not really, but actually I'm going to read from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavat Purana. I'm not going to actually speak very much because these are days that we use to contemplate the pastimes, the Leela of the Lord, and how He appears, why He appears, the nature of His activities. So simply hearing about the pastimes is sufficient. Philosophy is important because through philosophy we can get a deeper introspection into the nature of God and the Absolute. But once the philosophy is understood, meaning why is Krishna or Ramchandra, why are they God? Why is He the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, the Supreme Entity, the complete personality of Godhead? Once we can grasp that, then when we hear these pastimes, these stories, they're not just stories anymore. They're not just, like mythology or just some fictitious stories that someone made up, but they're actually the pastimes of the Supreme God, the Supreme Divine Being, Lord Ramachandra or Krishna. So we understand, though, we are Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we are followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the disciplic succession from Vedavyas and Madhvacharya, going all the way back to Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe. So our understanding is that the original personality of Godhead is Krishna, Govinda, and from Him manifest many, many avatars. Ramadi Murtishu Kalaniyamena Tishtan. The Brahma Samhita states that Rama is one of the incarnations of Krishna. From Krishna emanate so many different forms. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata bhutanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijami aham. And they come for a particular reason, a particular purpose. And Lord Ramachandra came for a very specific purpose, many purposes, but there were a few that were very important. So reading from the Bhagavatam, this is a condensed exposition of the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra with Prabhupada's purports. We can't read it all, but I'm going to read the verses. Occasionally I might stop and read something from a purport or say something. But we should just open our ears, submissively hear the pastimes, allow them to enter into our heart, and by that process of oral reception alone, Shravanam, we can achieve perfection. Because the whole idea is to simply, really, just to transpose our consciousness from things of this material realm to things of the spiritual realm. And part of that process, the most important part of that process of doing that is hearing. Because the hearing will change the perceptions, change the consciousness, it will cleanse the heart, it will cleanse the consciousness and renew it and bring it back to its original state. And once we are able to achieve that, when we hear these pastimes, we are actually participating in them within our heart. Because the Lord will only enter our consciousness when our heart is ready. Yes, premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santak sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Guna Swarupam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. He's only able to be seen and perceived by those who have this eye of love, premanjana churita, not otherwise. And this is the main teaching of the Bhagavad Gita of Lord Krishna. It is the ultimate purpose of the Vedas and all Vedic knowledge and all sacrifices, all austerities. Yagyeshu, daneshu, yat punya phalam. What's the rest? Acheti tat sarvam idam viditva yogi param stanam upaiti chadyam. Yes. How did it start though? Vedeshu, yagyeshu, daneshu, daneshu yat punya phalam. Anyway, Bhagavad Gita verse. All the purposes of the Vedas, austerity, fruitive activities, philosophical speculation, yoga, it's all achieved through bhakti. This is really the secret teachings of the Vedas and of the great acharyas. So, and bhakti manifests simply as the relishing, the loving of the loving pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and eventually to enter into them ourselves. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tattvata tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti soarjuna. One who actually understands the nature of Krishna or Rama's appearance and activities, when he leaves this mortal body, he no longer comes back. He goes back to Godhead. He goes back to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So let me begin. This is Canto 9, Chapter 10, the pastimes of the Supreme Lord Ramachandra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasim Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Lord Narayan, unto Nara Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaudavani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is a summary of the chapter 10 by Srila Prabhupada, and then we'll read each verse. This 10th chapter describes how Lord Ramachandra appeared in the dynasty of Maharaj Katvanga. It also describes the Lord's activities, telling how he killed Ravana and returned to Ayodhya, the capital of his kingdom. The son of Maharaj Katvanga was Dirghabahu, and his son was Raghu. The son of Raghu was Aja, the son of Aja was Dasharath, and the son of Dasharath was Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When the Lord descended into this world in his full quadruple expansion as Lord Ramachandra, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna, great sages like Valmiki, who were actually in knowledge of the absolute truth, described his transcendental pastimes. Srila Shukadeva Goswami describes these pastimes in brief. Lord Ramachandra went with Vishwamitra and killed Rakshasas like Maricha. After breaking the stout and strong bow known as Haradhanu, the Lord married Mother Sita and cut down the prestige of Parashuram. To obey the order of his father, he entered the forest accompanied by Lakshman and Sita. There he cut off the nose of Shuparnika and killed the associates of Ravan, headed by Kara and Dushana. Ravana's kidnapping of Sita Devi was the beginning of this demon's misfortune. When Maricha assumed the form of a golden deer, Lord Ramachandra went to bring the deer to please Sita Devi, but in the meantime, Ravana took advantage of the Lord's absence to kidnap her. When Sita Devi was kidnapped, Lord Ramachandra, accompanied by Lakshman, searched for her throughout the forest. In the course of this search, they met Jatayu. Then the Lord killed the demon Kabanda and the commander Bali and established a friendly relationship with Sugriva. After organizing the military strength of the monkeys and going with them to the shore of the sea, the Lord awaited the arrival of Samudra, the ocean personified. But when Samudra did not come, the Lord, the master of Samudra, became angry. Then Samudra came to the Lord with great haste and surrendered to him, wanting to help him in every way. The Lord then attempted to bridge the ocean, and with the help of advice from Bibhishan, he attacked Ravana's capital, Lanka. Previously, Hanuman, the eternal servant of the Lord, had set fire to Lanka, and now with the help of Lakshman, the forces of Lord Ramachandra killed all the Rakshasa soldiers. Then Lord Ramachandra personally killed Ravana. Mandodari and other wives lamented for Ravana, and in accordance with Lord Ramachandra's order, Bibhishan performed the funeral ceremonies for all the dead in the family. Lord Ramachandra then gave Bibhishan the right to rule Lanka and also granted him a long duration of life. The Lord delivered Sita Devi from the Ashok forest and carried her in a flower airplane to his capital, Ayodhya, where he was received by his brother Bharat. When Lord Ramachandra entered Ayodhya, Bharat brought his wooden shoes. Bibhishan and Sugriva held a whisk and fan. Hanuman carried an umbrella. Shatrughna carried the Lord's bow and 2 quivers. And Sita Devi carried a water pot containing water from holy places. Angada carried a sword, and Jambavan, Riksharaj, carried a shield. After Lord Ramachandra, accompanied by Lord Lakshman and Mother Sita Devi, met all his relatives, the great sage Vasishta enthroned him as king. The chapter ends with a short description of Lord Ramachandra's rule in Ayodhya. So we'll try to go through about 60 verses here, 60 texts. We have them there. Very good. We will not read the Sanskrit, only the English. Shukadev Goswami said, the son of Maharaj Katvanga was Dirghabhahu, and his son was the celebrated Maharaj Raghu. From Maharaj Raghu came Aja, and from Aja was born the great personality Maharaj Dasharath. Being prayed for by the demigods, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth himself, directly appeared with his expansion and expansions of the expansion. Their holy names were Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna. These celebrated incarnations thus appeared in 4 forms as the sons of Maharaj Dasharath. Let me read a little of the purport. Lord Ramachandra and his brothers Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna are all Vishnu Tattva, not Jiva Tattva. The Supreme Personality of Godhead expands into many, many forms. Advaitam, Achutam, Anadim, Anantarupam. Although they are one and the same, Vishnu Tattva has many forms and incarnations. As confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, Ramadi Murtishu Kala Niyamena Tishtan. The Lord is situated in many forms, such as Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrughna, and these forms may exist in any part of his creation. All these forms exist permanently, eternally, as individual personalities of Godhead, and they resemble many candles, all equally powerful. Lord Ramachandra, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna, who, being Vishnu Tattva, are all equally powerful, became the sons of Maharaj Dasharath in response to prayers by the demigods. O King Parikshit, the transcendental activities of Lord Ramachandra have been described by great saintly persons who have seen the truth. Because you have heard again and again about Lord Ramachandra, the husband of Mother Sita, I shall describe these activities only in brief. Please listen. To keep the promise of his father intact, Lord Ramachandra immediately gave up the position of king, and accompanied by his wife Mother Sita, wandered from one forest to another on his lotus feet, which were so delicate that they were unable to bear even the touch of Sita's palms. The Lord was also accompanied by Hanuman, king of the monkeys, or by another monkey, Sugriva, and by his own younger brother, Lord Lakshman, both of whom gave him relief from the fatigue of wandering in the forest. Having cut off the nose and ears of Shurpanaka, thus disfiguring her, the Lord was separated from Mother Sita. He therefore became angry, moving his eyebrows and thus frightening the ocean, who then allowed the Lord to construct a bridge to cross the ocean. Subsequently, the Lord entered the kingdom of Ravana to kill him, like a fire devouring a forest. May that Supreme Lord Ramchandra give us all protection. In the arena of the sacrifice performed by Vishwamitra, Lord Ramchandra, the king of Ayodhya, killed many demons, rakshasas, and uncivilized men who wandered at night in the mode of darkness. May Lord Ramachandra, who killed these demons in the presence of Lakshman, be kind enough to give us protection. O King, the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra were wonderful, like those of a baby elephant. In the assembly where Mother Sita was to choose her husband, in the midst of the heroes of this world, he broke the bow belonging to Lord Shiva. This bow was so heavy that it was carried by 300 men. But Lord Ramachandra bent and strung it and broke it in the middle, just as a baby elephant breaks a stick of sugar cane. Thus the Lord achieved the hand of Mother Sita, who was equally as endowed with transcendental qualities of form, beauty, behavior, age, and nature. Indeed, she was the goddess of fortune who constantly rests on the chest of the Lord. While returning from Sita's home after gaining her at the assembly of competitors, Lord Ramachandra met Parshuram. Although Parshuram was very proud, having rid the earth of the royal order 21 times, he was defeated by the Lord, who appeared to be a Kshatriya of the royal order. Carrying out the order of his father, who was bound by a promise to his wife, Lord Ramachandra left behind his kingdom, opulence, friends, well-wishers, residents, and everything else, just as a liberated soul gives up his life and went to the forest with Sita. Let me read the purport, because this is a crucial part of the story of Lord Ramachandra, how he is exiled to the forest by his father at the wish of Kaikeyi, his wife. Maharaj Dasharath had 3 wives. One of them, Kaikeyi, served him very pleasingly, and he therefore wanted to give her a benediction. Kaikeyi, however, said that she would ask for a benediction when it was necessary. At the time of the coronation of Prince Ramachandra, Kaikeyi requested her husband to enthrone her son Bharat and send Ramachandra to the forest. Maharaj Dasharath, being bound by his promise, ordered Ramachandra to go to the forest according to the dictation of his beloved. And the Lord, as an obedient son, accepted the order immediately. He left everything without hesitation, just as a liberated soul or a great yogi gives up his life without material attraction. Text 9. While wandering in the forest, where he accepted a life of hardship, carrying his invincible bow and arrows in his hand, Lord Ramachandra deformed Ravana's sister, who was polluted with lusty desires, by cutting off her nose and ears. He also killed her 14,000 Rakshasa friends, headed by Kara, Trishira, and Dushana. O King Parikshit, when Ravana, who had 10 heads on his shoulders, heard about the beautiful and attractive features of Sita, his mind was agitated by lusty desires, and he went to kidnap her. To distract Lord Ramachandra from his ashram, Ravana sent Maricha in the form of a golden deer, and when Lord Ramachandra saw that wonderful deer, he left his residence and followed it, and finally killed it with a sharp arrow, just as Lord Shiva killed Daksha. When Ramachandra entered the forest, and Lakshman was also absent, the worst of the Rakshasas, Ravana, kidnapped Sita Devi, the daughter of the king of Videha, just as a tiger seizes unprotected sheep when the shepherd is absent. Then Lord Ramachandra wandered in the forest with his brother Lakshman, as if very much distressed due to separation from his wife. Thus, he showed by his personal example the condition of a person attached to women. I'm going to read a little of the purport. This is a lesson by Lord Ramachandra. In this verse, the words Stri Sanginam Gatim Iti indicate that the condition of a person attached to women was shown by the Lord himself. According to moral instructions, Grihe Narim Vivarjayet, when one goes out on tour, one should not bring his wife. Formerly, men used to travel without conveyances, but still, as far as possible, when one leaves home, one should not take his wife with him, especially if one is in such a condition as Lord Ramachandra when banished by the order of his father. Whether in the forest or at home, if one is attached to women, this attachment is always troublesome, as shown by the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his personal example. Now a little bit further we'll go. Of course, this is the material side of Sri Sangi, but the situation of Lord Ramachandra is spiritual, for he does not belong to the material world. Narayana paro vyaktat. Narayan is beyond the material creation. Because he is the creator of the material world, he is not subject to the conditions of the material world. The separation of Lord Ramachandra from Sita is spiritually understood as vipralambha, which is an activity of the Hladini potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead belonging to the Sringara Rasa, the mellow of conjugal love in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has all the dealings of love, displaying the symptoms called sattvika, sanchari, vilapa, murcha, unmada. Thus, when Lord Ramachandra was separated from Sita, all these spiritual symptoms were manifested. The Lord is neither impersonal nor impotent. Rather, he is Satchid Ananda Vigraha, the eternal form of bliss and knowledge. Thus, he has all the symptoms of spiritual bliss. Feeling separation from one's beloved is also an item of spiritual bliss. As explained by Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vrikritir Hladini Shakti. The dealings of love between Radha and Krishna are displayed as the pleasure potency of the Lord. The Lord is the original source of all pleasure, the reservoir of all pleasure. Lord Ramachandra therefore manifested the truth both spiritually and materially. Materially, those who are attached to women suffer, but spiritually, when there are feelings of separation between the Lord and his pleasure potency, the spiritual bliss of the Lord increases. I'll stop with the purport, go to text 12. Lord Ramachandra, whose lotus feet are worshipped by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, had assumed the form of a human being. Thus he performed the funeral ceremony of Jatayu, who was killed by Ravan. The Lord then killed the demon named Kabanda, and after making friends with the monkey chiefs, killed Bali, and arranging for the deliverance of Mother Sita, he went to the beach of the ocean. After reaching the beach, Lord Ramachandra fasted for 3 days, awaiting the arrival of the ocean personified. When the ocean did not come, the Lord exhibited his pastimes of anger, and simply by his glancing over the ocean, all the living entities within it, including the crocodiles and sharks, were agitated by fear. Then the personified ocean fearfully approached Lord Ramachandra, taking all paraphernalia to worship him. Falling at the Lord's lotus feet, the personified ocean spoke as follows: O all-pervading Supreme Person, we are dull-minded and did not understand who you are. But now we understand that you are the Supreme Person, the Master of the entire universe, the unchanging and original personality of Godhead. The demigods are infatuated with the mode of goodness, the Prajapatis with the mode of passion, and the Lord of Ghosts with the mode of ignorance. But you are the master of all these qualities. My Lord, you may use my water as you like. Indeed, you may cross it and go to the abode of Ravan, who is the great source of disturbance and crying for the 3 worlds. He is the son of Vishrava, but is condemned like urine. Please go kill him, and thus regain your wife Sita Devi. O great hero, although my water presents no impediment to your going to Lanka, please construct a bridge over it to spread your transcendental fame. Upon seeing this wonderfully uncommon deed of your lordship, all the great heroes and kings in the future will glorify you. I'm going to read the first paragraph of the purport. It is said that a sun and urine emanate from the same source, the genitals. When a son is a devotee or great learned person, the seminal discharge for begetting a son is successful. But if the son is unqualified and brings no glory to his family, he is no better than urine. Here Ravan is compared to urine because he was a cause of disturbances to the 3 worlds. Thus, the ocean personified wanted him killed by Lord Ramachandra. Next text, number 16. Shukadev Goswami said, after constructing a bridge over the ocean by throwing into the water the peaks of mountains whose trees and other vegetation had been shaken by the hands of great monkeys, Lord Ramachandra went to Lanka to release Sita Devi from the clutches of Ravan, with the direction and help of Bibhishan, Ravana's brother. The Lord, along with the monkey soldiers headed by Sugriva, Nila, and Hanuman, entered Ravana's kingdom, Lanka, which had previously been burnt by Hanuman. After entering Lanka, the monkey soldiers, led by chiefs like Sugriva, Nila, Hanuman, occupied all the sporting houses, granaries, treasuries, palace doorways, city gates, assembly houses, palace frontages, and even the resting houses of the pigeons. When the city's crossroads, platforms, flags, and golden water pots on its domes were all destroyed, the entire city of Lanka appeared like a river disturbed by a herd of elephants. When Ravan, the master of the Rakshasas, saw the disturbances created by the monkey soldiers, he called for Nikumba, Kumbha, Dhumraksha, Durmukha, Surantaka, Narantaka, and other Rakshasas, and also his son Indrajit. Thereafter he called for Prahasta, Atikaya, Vikampana, and finally Kumbhakarna. Then he induced all his followers to fight against the enemies. Lord Ramachandra, surrounded by Lakshman and monkey soldiers like Sugriva, Hanuman, Gandamada, Nila, Angada, Jambavan, and Panasa, attacked the soldiers of the Rakshasas, who were fully equipped with various invincible weapons like swords, lances, bows, prasas, rishtis, shakti arrows, khadgas, and tomaras. Angada and the other commanders of the soldiers of Ramachandra faced the elephants, infantry, horses, and chariots of the enemy, and hurled against them big trees, mountain peaks, clubs, and arrows. Thus the soldiers of Lord Ramachandra killed Ravana's soldiers, who had lost all good fortune because Ravana had been condemned by the anger of Mother Sita. Thereafter, when Ravan, the king of the Rakshasas, observed that his soldiers had been lost, he was extremely angry. Thus he mounted his airplane, which was decorated with flowers, and proceeded toward Lord Ramchandra, who sat on the effulgent chariot brought by Matali, the chariot driver of Indra. Then Ravana struck Lord Ramchandra with sharp arrows. Lord Ramachandra said to Ravana, "You are the most abominable of the man-eaters. Indeed, you are like their stool. You resemble a dog. For as a dog steals eatables from the kitchen in the absence of the householder, in my absence, you kidnapped my wife, Sita Devi. Therefore, as Yamaraj punishes sinful men, I shall also punish you. You are most abominable, sinful, and shameless. Today, therefore, I, whose attempt never fails, shall punish you." After thus rebuking Ravan, Lord Ramachandra fixed an arrow to his bow, aimed at Ravana, and released the arrow, which pierced Ravana's heart like a thunderbolt. Upon seeing this, Ravana's followers raised a tumultuous sound, crying, "Alas! Alas! What has happened? What has happened?" As Ravana, vomiting blood from his 10 mouths, fell from his airplane, just as a pious man falls to earth from the heavenly planets when the results of his pious activities are exhausted. Thereafter, all the women whose husbands had fallen in the battle, headed by Mandodari, the wife of Ravan, came out of Lanka. Continuously crying, they approached the dead bodies of Ravana and the other Rakshasas. Striking their breasts in affliction because their husbands had been killed by the arrows of Lakshman, The women embraced their respective husbands and cried piteously in voices appealing to everyone. "O my lord, O master, you epitomized trouble for others, and therefore you were called Ravan. But now that you have been defeated, we also are defeated, for without you, the state of Lanka has been conquered by the enemy. To whom will it go for shelter? O greatly fortunate one, you came under the influence of lusty desires, and therefore you could not understand the influence of Mother Sita. Now, because of her curse, you have been reduced to this state, having been killed by Lord Ramchandra. O pleasure of the Rakshasa dynasty, because of you, the state of Lanka and also we ourselves now have no protector. By your deeds, you have made your body fit to be eaten by vultures and your soul fit to go to hell." Sri Shukadev Goswami said, Bibhishan, the pious brother of Ravan and devotee of Lord Ramchandra, received approval from Lord Ramchandra, the king of Koshala. Then he performed prescribed funeral ceremonies for his family members to save them from the path to hell. Thereafter, Lord Ramchandra found Sita Devi sitting in a small cottage beneath the tree named Shimshapa in the forest of the Ashoka trees. She was lean and thin, being aggrieved because of separation from him. Seeing his wife in that condition, Lord Ramchandra was very compassionate. When Ramchandra came before her, she was exceedingly happy to see her beloved, and her lotus-like mouth showed her joy. After giving Bibhishan the power to rule the Rakshasa population of Lanka for the duration of 1 kalpa, Lord Ramchandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, placed Sita Devi on an airplane decorated with flowers, and then got on the plane himself. The period for his living in the forest having ended, the Lord returned to Ayodhya, accompanied by Hanuman, Sugriva, and his brother Lakshman. When Lord Ramchandra returned to his capital, Ayodhya, he was greeted on the road by the princely order, who showered his body with beautiful, fragrant flowers, while great personalities like Lord Brahma and other demigods glorified the activities of the Lord in great jubilation. Upon reaching Ayodhya, Lord Ramchandra heard that in his absence his brother Bharat was eating barley cooked in the urine of a cow, covering his body with the bark of trees, wearing matted locks of hair, and lying on a mattress of kusha. The most merciful Lord very much lamented this. When Lord Bharat understood that Lord Ramchandra was returning to the capital Ayodhya, he immediately took upon his own head, Lord Ramchandra's wooden shoes, and came out from his camp at Nandigram. Lord Bharat was accompanied by ministers, priests, and other respectable citizens, by professional musicians, vibrating pleasing musical sounds, and by learned brahmanas loudly chanting Vedic hymns. Following in the procession were chariots drawn by beautiful horses with harnesses of golden rope. These chariots were decorated by flags with golden embroidery and by other flags of various sizes and patterns. There were soldiers bedecked with golden armor, servants bearing betel nut, and many well-known and beautiful prostitutes. Many servants followed on foot, bearing an umbrella, whisks, and different grades of precious jewels, and other paraphernalia befitting a royal reception. Accompanied in this way, Lord Bharat, his heart softened in ecstasy and his eyes full of tears, approached Lord Ramchandra and fell at his lotus feet with great ecstatic love. After offering the wooden shoes before Lord Ramchandra, Lord Bharat stood with folded hands, his eyes full of tears. And Lord Ramchandra bathed Bharat with tears while embracing him with both arms for a long time. Accompanied by Mother Sita and Lakshman, Lord Ramchandra then offered his respectful obeisances unto the learned brahmanas and the elderly persons in the family, and all the citizens of Ayodhya offered their respectful obeisances unto the Lord. The citizens of Ayodhya, upon seeing their king return after a long absence, offered him flower garlands, waved their upper cloths, and danced with great jubilation. O king, Lord Bharat carried Lord Ramachandra's wooden shoes. Sugriva and Bibhishan carried a whisk and an excellent fan. Hanuman carried a white umbrella. Shatrughna carried a bow and 2 quivers. And Sita Devi carried a water pot filled with water from holy places. Angada carried a sword, and Jambavan, king of the rikshas, carried a golden shield. O King Parikshit, as the Lord sat on his airplane of flowers, with women offering him prayers and reciters chanting about his characteristics, he appeared like the moon with the stars and planets. Thereafter, having been welcomed by his brother Bharat, Lord Ramchandra entered the city of Ayodhya in the midst of a festival. When he entered the palace, he offered obeisances to all the mothers, including Kaikeyi and the other wives of Maharaj Dasharath, and especially his own mother, Kaushalya. He also offered obeisances to the spiritual preceptors such as Vasishta. Friends of his own age and younger friends worshipped him, and he returned their respectful obeisances, as did Lakshman and Mother Sita. In this way, they all entered the palace. Upon seeing their sons, the mothers of Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna immediately arose, like unconscious bodies returning to consciousness. The mothers placed their sons on their laps and bathed them with tears, thus relieving themselves of the grief of long separation. The family priest or spiritual master Vasishta had Lord Ramchandra cleanly shaved, freeing him from his matted locks of hair. Then, with the cooperation of the elderly members of the family, he performed the bathing ceremony, Abhishek, for Lord Ramchandra, with the water of the 4 seas and with other substances, just as it was performed for King Indra. Lord Ramchandra, fully bathed and his head clean-shaven, dressed himself very nicely and was decorated with a garland and ornaments. Thus he shone brightly, surrounded by his brothers and wife, who were similarly dressed and ornamented. Being pleased by the full surrender and submission of Lord Bharat, Lord Ramchandra then accepted the throne of the state. He cared for the citizens exactly like a father, and the citizens, being fully engaged in their occupational duties of Varna and Ashram, accepted him as their father. Let me read a little of the purport of this verse. People are very fond of the pattern of Ram Rajya, and even today, politicians sometimes form a party called Ram Rajya, but unfortunately, they have no obedience to Lord Ram. It is sometimes said that people want the kingdom of God without God. Such an aspiration, however, is never to be fulfilled. Good government can exist when the relationship between the citizens and the government is like that exemplified by Lord Ramchandra and his citizens. Lord Ramchandra ruled his kingdom exactly as a father takes care of his children. And the citizens, being obliged to the good government of Lord Ramchandra, accepted the Lord as their father. Thus, the relationship between the citizens and the government should be exactly like that between father and son. When the sons in a family are well trained, he takes good care of the children. As indicated by the words Swadharma Nirata Varnashrama Gunanvita, the people were good citizens because they accepted the institution of Varna and Ashram, which arranges society in the Varna divisions of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and the Ashram divisions of Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. This is actual human civilization. People must be trained according to the different Varnashram occupational duties. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Chatur Varnyam Maya Sirshtam Gunakarma Vibhagasha. The four Varnas must be established according to varying qualities and work. The first principle for good government is that it must institute this Varnashram system. The purpose of Varnashram is to enable people to become God-conscious. Varnashrama charavata purushena parakpuman vishnor aradhyate. The entire Varnashram scheme is intended to enable people to become Vaishnavas. Vishnur asya devata. When people worship Lord Vishnu as the Supreme Lord, they become Vaishnavas. Thus, people should be trained to become Vaishnavas through the system of Varnashram, as they were during the reign of Lord Ramchandra, when everyone was fully trained to follow the Varnashram principles. I will continue with the reading, verse 51. Lord Ramchandra became king during Treta Yuga, but because of his good government, the age was like Satya Yuga. Everyone was religious and completely happy. I'm going to read some of this purport also. Among the four yugas, Satya, Treta, Dvapara, and Kali, the Kali Yuga is the worst. But if the process of Varnashram Dharma is introduced even in this age of Kali, the situation of Satya Yuga can be invoked. The Hare Krishna movement or Krishna consciousness movement is meant for this purpose. Kaler dosha nidhe rajan asti hyeko mahan guna kirtanad eva krishnasya mukta sangha param brajet. My dear king, although Kali Yuga is full of faults, there is still one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. If people take to this Sankirtan movement of chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, they will certainly be freed from the contamination of Kali Yuga, and the people of this age will be happy, as people were in Satya Yuga, the golden age. Anyone, anywhere can easily take to this Hare Krishna movement. One need only chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, observe the rules and regulations, and stay free from the contamination of sinful life. Even if one is sinful and cannot give up sinful life immediately, if he chants the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra with devotion and faith, he will certainly be freed from all sinful activities, and his life will be successful. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. This is the blessing of Lord Ramachandra, who has appeared in this age of Kali as Lord Gaur Sundar. Text 52. O Maharaj Parikshit, best of the Bharat dynasty. During the reign of Lord Ramachandra, the forests, the rivers, the hills and mountains, the states, the 7 islands, and the 7 seas were all favorable in supplying the necessities of life for all living beings. When Lord Ramchandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was the king of this world, all bodily and mental suffering, disease, old age, bereavement, lamentation, distress, fear, and fatigue were completely absent. There was even no death for those who did not want it. Lord Ramachandra took a vow to accept only one wife and have no connection with any other women. He was a saintly king, and everything in his character was good, untinged by qualities like anger. He taught good behavior for everyone, especially for householders in terms of varnashram dharma. Thus, he taught the general public by his personal activities. Mother Sita was very submissive, faithful, shy, and chaste, always understanding the attitude of her husband. Thus, by her character and love and service, she completely attracted the mind of the Lord. The purport. As Lord Ramchandra is the ideal husband, Ekapatni Vrata, Mother Sita is the ideal wife. Such a combination makes family life very happy. Yad yad acharati shreshtas tattad evataro jana. Whatever example a good man sets, common people follow. If the kings, the leaders, and the brahmanas, the teachers, would set forth the examples we receive from Vedic literature, the entire world would be heaven. Indeed, there would no longer be hellish conditions within this material world. Now, I'm going to read some of the beginning of chapter 11. Text number 1. Shukadev Goswami said, thereafter the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramchandra, accepted an acharya and performed sacrifices, yagyas, with opulent paraphernalia. Thus he himself worshipped himself, for he is the Lord of all the demigods. Lord Ramchandra gave the entire east to the Hota priest, the entire south to the Brahma priest, the west to the Advaryu priest, and the north to the Udgata priest, the reciter of the Samaveda. In this way, he donated his kingdom. Thereafter, thinking that because the Brahmanas have no material desires, they should possess the entire world, Lord Ramchandra delivered the land between the east, west, and north and south to the acharya. After thus giving everything in charity to the Brahmanas, Lord Ramchandra retained only his personal garments and ornaments. And similarly, the queen, Mother Sita, was left with only her nose ring and nothing else. All the Brahmanas who were engaged in the various activities of the sacrifice were very pleased with Lord Ramchandra, who was greatly affectionate and favorable to the Brahmanas. Thus, with melted hearts, they returned all the property received from him and spoke as follows. O Lord, you are the master of the entire universe. What have you not given to us? You have entered the core of our hearts and dissipated the darkness of our ignorance by your effulgence. This is the supreme gift. We do not need a material donation. O Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who have accepted the Brahmanas as your worshipable deity. Your knowledge and memory are never disturbed by anxiety. You are the chief of all famous persons within this world, and your lotus feet are worshipped by sages who are beyond the jurisdiction of punishment. O Lord Ramchandra, let us offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Shukadev Goswami continued, once, while Lord Ramchandra was walking at night incognito, hiding himself by a disguise to find out the people's opinion of himself, he heard a man speaking unfavorably about his wife, Sita Devi. Speaking to his unchaste wife, the man said, "You go to another man's house, and therefore you are unchaste and polluted. I shall not maintain you any more. A henpecked husband like Lord Ram may accept a wife like Sita, who went to another man's house, but I am not henpecked like him, and therefore I shall not accept you again." Shukadev Goswami said, men with a poor fund of knowledge and a hyena's character speak nonsensically. Fearing such rascals, Lord Ramchandra abandoned his wife Sita Devi, although she was pregnant. Thus Sita Devi went to the ashram of Valmiki Muni. When the time came, the pregnant mother Sita Devi gave birth to twin sons, later celebrated as Lava and Kush. The ritualistic ceremonies for their birth were performed by Valmiki Muni. O Maharaj Parikshit, Lord Lakshman had two sons named Angada and Chitraketu, and Lord Bharat also had two sons named Taksha and Pushkala. Shatrughna had two sons named Subahu and Shrutasen. When Lord Bharat went to conquer all directions, he had to kill many millions of Gandharvas who are generally pretenders. Taking all their wealth, he offered it to Lord Ramchandra. Shatrughna also killed a Rakshasa named Lavana, who was the son of Madhu Rakshasa. Thus he established in the great forest known as Madhuvana the town known as Mathura. Being forsaken by her husband, Sita Devi entrusted her two sons to the care of Valmiki Muni. Then, meditating upon the lotus feet of Lord Ramchandra, she entered into the earth. After hearing the news of Mother Sita's entering the earth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was certainly aggrieved. Although he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, upon remembering the exalted qualities of Mother Sita, he could not check his grief in transcendental love. The attraction between man and woman or male and female always exists everywhere, making everyone always fearful. Such feelings are present even among the controllers like Brahma and Lord Shiva, and is the cause of fear for them. What to speak of others who are attached to household life in this material world? After Mother Sita entered the earth, Lord Ramchandra observed complete celibacy and performed an uninterrupted Agnihotra Yagya for 13,000 years. After completing the sacrifice, Lord Ramchandra, whose lotus feet were sometimes pierced by thorns when he lived in the Dandakaranya, placed those lotus feet in the hearts of those who always think of him. Then he entered his own abode, the Vaikuntha planet, beyond the Brahma Jyoti. Lord Ramchandra's reputation for having killed Ravan with showers of arrows at the request of the demigods, and for having built a bridge over the ocean, does not constitute the factual glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramchandra, whose spiritual body is always engaged in various pastimes. Lord Ramchandra has no equal or superior, and therefore he had no need to take help from the monkeys to gain victory over Ravan. Lord Ramchandra's spotless name and fame, which vanquish all sinful reactions, are celebrated in all directions like the ornamental cloth of the victorious elephant that conquers all directions. Great saintly persons like Markandeya Rishi still glorify his characteristics in the assemblies of great emperors like Maharaj Yudhishthir. Similarly, all the saintly kings and all the demigods, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, worship the Lord by bowing down with their helmets. Let me offer my obeisances unto his lotus feet. Lord Ramchandra returned to his abode, to which bhakti yogis are promoted. This is the place to which all the inhabitants of Ayodhya went after they served the Lord in his manifest pastimes by offering him obeisances, touching his lotus feet, fully observing him as a father-like king, sitting or lying down with him like equals, or even just accompanying him. Let me read some of the purport. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tattvata tyaktva deham punar janma naiti mam eti soarjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Here, this is confirmed. All the inhabitants of Ayodhya who saw Lord Ramchandra as citizens, served him as servants, sat and talked with him as friends, or were somehow or other present during his reign, went back home, back to Godhead. After giving up the body, the devotee who becomes perfect in devotional service enters that particular universe where Lord Ramachandra or Lord Krishna is engaged in his pastimes. Then, after being trained to serve the Lord in various capacities in that Prakata Lila, the devotee is finally promoted to Sanatan Dham, the supreme abode in the spiritual world. This Sanatan Dham is also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Parastasmatu bhavo nyo vyakto vyaktat sanatana. One who enters the transcendental pastimes of the Lord is called Nitya Lila Pravishta. To understand clearly why Lord Ramchandra returned, it is mentioned herewith that the Lord went to that particular place where the bhakti yogis go. The impersonalists misunderstand the statements of Srimad Bhagavatam to mean that the Lord entered his own effulgence and therefore become impersonal. But the Lord is a person and his devotees are persons. Indeed, the living entities like the Lord were persons in the past. They are persons in the present, and they will continue to be persons even after giving up the body. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Text 23. O King Parikshit, anyone who orally receives the narrations concerning the characteristics of Lord Ramachandra's pastimes will ultimately be freed from the disease of envy and thus be liberated from the bondage of fruitive activities. Maharaj, well, this goes on a little, but I think we'll stop here. Yes? Thank you. So thank you very much. Lord Ramchandra ki jai. So this is a narration that we can hear every day. is that we just hear this once a year and then it's finished, or once in our life and then it's finished. The whole purpose, again, is by hearing these narrations of the pastimes of God and His devotees, as explained in the end, in the last few verses, that one can become qualified to himself enter the abode and the pastimes of that personality of Godhead. This is the ultimate goal. We don't want to remain in this material world, changing bodies, going through transmigration from one body to the next through samsara. We want to stop that cycle of samsara. We want to regain our spiritual body, our spiritual senses, our spiritual consciousness, and once again serve the eternal form of the Lord in His abode, His Dham. This is the goal of Krishna consciousness. This is the goal of chanting Hare Krishna, of hearing these pastimes, of coming here and celebrating these festivals. So thank you very much for coming. Try to take Krishna consciousness home with you in the form of books and the chanting, and remain Krishna conscious under all circumstances. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Ram Chandra Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman